All right, I'm going to do a quick rundown of how leveling works in Oblivion and what efficient leveling is to start. So first you have 21 skills in Oblivion. It's these here that I'm going to highlight in whatever color we feel like that we click first. You get you pick 7 of them as your major skills when you create your character. These get a plus 20 starting boost to their level, and they level 2/3 faster. They also trigger level ups. After you've increased the 7 major skills that you've picked 10 times, you gain a level. Now, upon level up, you choose 3 attributes to increase. That's these. You get to pick 3 of them, and they get to increase. Now, this depends on how much you leveled up the skills beneath them or tied to them during that level up. So if I'm playing a warrior and I'm using blade and I leveled blade, I don't know, 5 times, and I don't use blunt or hand to hand at all, on level up I will get a +3 to my strength as an option to choose. I can ignore it and pick other things if they have better modifiers or maybe I'm more interested in them, but that's how it works. It's also, so let's say I'm trying to be a warrior, so I'm leveling heavy armor, I leveled it 4, armor, I leveled it 4, and block, I leveled it 2. If I leveled all of those, I would get +5 to endurance because it's 10 total skill ups within that attribute. And the breakpoints are 1, 5, 8, and 10. So if you have at least one skill up, if I leveled alchemy once, I would have +2 to int on level up because I got 1. If I leveled willpower 4 times, like destruction 4 times, it would still only be a +2 because I didn't get to that 5 skill up breakpoint. Unless if I also leveled alteration or restoration 1 to get to that 5 breakpoint, so forth and so on. If you leveled illusion 30 times, it would still only be a +5 option. It never gets higher than +5. A lot of people don't like this. It's not a big deal. Well, let's look at the unofficial Elder Scrolls wiki, this page here. It says that there is a leveling problem, an entire section on it. It says, on the other hand, it is possible to play to high levels and have your character constantly become stronger than enemies. To accomplish this, it is necessary to take maximum advantage of every bonus that is available to your character when you level up. So the implication here is that if you do not level perfectly and carefully plan your character and min-max to an insane degree, you will not be able to keep up with the difficulty of the game. And they call this the leveling problem because there is level scaling in the game. It says right here, in general, this requires careful planning from the beginning of the game. Because many of these advantages are only available with specific character creation choices. Now, if you've watched me stream, I goof off all the time. I did not min-max that character creation. I absolutely do not efficient level, and all my characters are very powerful because attributes aren't where enough player power comes from. Attributes aren't worthless, but they're really not worth your time to totally panic about. In a previous video I made, the title of the video was "Everyone Else is Wrong and I'm Right." Now, that's obviously it's a joke. If anyone had ever met me, hopefully no one watching this knows who I am because I don't want to be doxxed. But it's a joke. It's not who I am. However, a lot of people think that this is a massive problem. It's in the wiki. If you go to Oblivion leveling on YouTube, stuff like this comes up where it says your only options are max leveling, under leveling, efficient leveling, why the leveling system is so broken, talking about efficient leveling. A lot of people talk about this thing. This video is suggesting the only way to deal with this is to download a mod. This video is actually saying the system isn't that bad, but it shows this image where it's like, here's your 4 options. Ignore leveling, barely level up, min-max, or use the console command, like basically cheat. Crazy options. You could just play the game like a normal person and maybe dig a little bit into the systems to get a more powerful character. Now, before we continue, I will say, if I was making the game and I was designing it, these would be the skills and attributes I would pick. I would have acrobatics and spear under strength. Speech would be under intelligence, illusion under willpower, personality would be removed from the game, athletics would be moved to endurance. We would add back in unarmored, so we'd have 3 things under speed. It'd make the problems. It'd make leveling your attributes a little bit easier and feel a little smoother, but it would still keep the core concept of what the leveling system in Oblivion is. Now, what I want to hammer home is that people complain about Oblivion because it's difficult. They're not complaining because this system is bad. The leveling problem isn't real. You know, when I say that it's not real, what I'm saying is that it's not a problem. This is like saying that Act 4 in Diablo 2 is harder than Act 1. So Diablo has a progression problem because as you progress in the game, enemies get stronger. And if you don't min-max with a skill calculator, you know, if I play like a moron and just put 1 into every single aura on my paladin, and maybe I put 1 point into smite and 1 point into holy bolt, and you know what, let's make a holy bolt build. If you play like a buffoon, your character will no longer be able to progress at all. And yes, Diablo 2 is a linear game. It's not an open world game like Oblivion. So you could argue that the world doesn't level with you in Diablo 2, but you can't just farm in Act 3. At some point, you out-level the content and it stops giving you any experience. So you need to make a character strong enough to handle enemies at about your level. Otherwise, you will not be able to go on. You can't just grind really, really low level stuff. You know, I remember the first time I ever played Diablo 2, I got stuck in Act 3 normal. When I came back as a teenager, I got stuck in Act 2 hell difficulty. And I still struggled with it. And I couldn't progress past that. I kept dying, losing experience. I couldn't grind because I wasn't good enough. I hadn't built a powerful enough character to do that. Now, you could argue that this is good game design for a game like Diablo, but not Oblivion. But I disagree. You know, this is just an opinion. If you want to play a role-playing game that's just like a simulator with no fail states, you shouldn't be playing a combat-heavy game. You know, there's The Sims. There's other games that I don't play. Oblivion is filled with combat. The Elder Scrolls is filled with combat and conflict. That doesn't mean it's a broken game. That is a huge part of the challenge that you want to overcome. You know, and so before you type up the comment, but Old Knight, what if I'm a complete noob and I can't kill anything? Well, I think that's good game design. That is not broken or bad game design. That's the whole point of what I've been arguing with this channel. Obviously, it's just my perspective. You can think if a game is difficult and there are fail states, then it's broken. But I completely disagree with that concept. Now, I will concede that physical damage from weapons is a little low. And I do think enemy scaling is a little heavy-handed. You know, it should cap at 30 or 30-something, but they're not broken. When I say a little, I mean a little. Okay, we're going to break this down one part at a time. So, of course, we're going to the spreadsheet. Now, I was messing around. Let's zoom out a little bit. You can't see any of this. This is my hypothetical Argonian, LAM, Thief Sign, picked Agility and Endurance. If I gained +3 to attributes per level, we don't really need to look at all of this. But this is kind of different breakpoints of where my attributes would be at a different level. And so this is if I did +5. Mostly what I did here was was for my testing. And so really what I want you to see, we'll zoom back in here, is this part. At level 10, my character who didn't efficiently level, so meaning they're gaining +3 to attributes, would have 162 health. And this is an Argonian level 10 marksman, archer. We're talking about a bow. They would do 13.31 damage, 80 magicka. This is their regen, their movement speed. So not their speed statistic, but their actual movement speed, assuming they're not wearing, they feathered away all of their armor. So they have no encumbrance. Their carry weight. So there's actually kind of a significant difference between the level 10 who did efficiently level. They would have they'd have 40 more health. They do a tiny bit more damage, but more magicka regen, and almost 100 more carry weight. 90 more carry weight does make a big difference early game. So there is some validity to this. At level 20, well, the damage gap is closed. The magicka gap is massive. There's still some gaps. It looks like the carry weight gap is closing. And by level 30, the damage is identical. Health is 35 difference, which doesn't seem so massive anymore because you're both over 400. Magicka is only 18 difference, and it's really not that big. That speed differential is very minor. Carry weight is caught up. And, you know, as an archer, we could have 200 magicka and maybe a little bit less carry weight, like 45. So we could have 455 carry weight and 200 magicka, so which would boost up our magicka regen a little bit. This is just to show you that the differences are very minor. And this is if you're playing a character who gets +3 to each attribute every level, every now and then it's pretty easy to get +5 to intelligence because these skills are very easy to level. Every now and then, whenever I go into the tutorial, I get +5 to strength because I just punch everything in the tutorial because it's really easy. I use trainers where I get +5 to block, and maybe I'll wear heavy armor, and so sometimes I get +5 to endurance. I never keep track of my skills. I never take it too seriously. I'm playing a game to have fun. So I still level much better than all +3s, but even if that's pretty much the bare minimum. If you're putting any effort into your build, any effort into using the leveling system, you'll get +3s and you'll only be slightly worse off. Now you might think, oh, but isn't that a big deal? I don't want to be slightly worse off. So what I want to show you is this hypothetical character isn't going to have the same skill levels. If you are using marksman as a minor skill, let's start over here. I'm going to highlight this. What color do we want? Green. If you're using marksman as a minor skill, to get to level 60 from the beginning, it takes 3,500 shots. If you're using it as a major skill within your specialization, it only takes 1,300. It happens a lot faster. And this is all talking about my Argonian character, the LAM. Getting to 100 takes over 12,000 shots if you just do it as a minor skill. A spec major, it's less than half of that. So what I did here, these things I kind of use to help me with my math. Here, I can kind of get this out of the way. We don't really need to look at all this. I think it's distracting, to be honest. Let's just put that over there. After 1,300 shots, the Argonian who's not efficiently leveling, meaning they picked marksman as a major skill, which if you pick it as a major skill, it's much harder to efficiently level. So you just get to shoot your arrows. You're never worried about accidentally leveling up marksman too much. Almost never worried about it, because getting 5 skill ups in what you want to level can happen from trainers, can happen from watching guys punch each other for a little bit. It can happen very quickly. Make a few potions and you're there. If I didn't pick it as a major skill, I would only have 41 marksman. So even with my higher agility, I'm still doing 30% less damage as an efficient leveler. And this is at level 10. Well, this is at 60 marksman skill. Assuming we're level 30, when we get to 100 marksman skill, if we picked it as a major, I would be doing 39.8 damage. After that same amount of shots required to get to level 100 with a major skill in marksman, I would only have 71 if marksman was a minor skill. It would level much slower, and I would have a ton more shots. In fact, I would have, let's look, let's take equals this number minus this number. I would have 7,000. Well, in total, you need 7,000 more shots. That's a lot. The experience you need here. So from 72, I shouldn't have moved that over. So we're going to do the sum. So what is 72? 72 is M73. So we're going to say equals the sum of M73 down to M, where is this one? Well, we can just click it, right? Oh, no. What is that? N100. Okay. N100. Let's add it in there. N100. So that's 8,000 experience. So from there, that means you get 0.8 experience per shot if it's a minor skill. So this person, to get from 71 to 100, needs 6,514 more shots to get to 100 marksman. That's an insane amount of shots. That's more than this person needed to get to 100 in the first place. That's ridiculous. It takes so many shots to get to max level marksman if you don't pick it as a major skill, if you don't spec into it. If you are not playing with your major skills, you are going to have a very, very, very bad time in this game. It's a disaster to make that decision. Do not do it unless you love being a weirdo who just grinds and grinds and grinds. Okay, let's talk about another part to the problem. So player power. There's equipment, there's skills, there's attributes, there's custom spells, greater powers, racial bonuses, birth signs, birthstones, alchemy. Alchemy is its own system that adds temporary boosts. There is a lot of sources of player power. Attributes and skills are one of them. Attributes are below skills in power. That doesn't mean they're worthless. You know, a lot of my viewers got this in their head because I've been talking about it a lot, that attributes are completely worthless. They are not worthless. These numbers are different, and that matters. Not a ton, but 35 health is 35 health. And if you didn't get +3s, if you only got +2s, these differences would actually be kind of big. You know, like, you want to get some attributes. It would suck to have way less, to have no endurance. You know, if you never put any levels in endurance and you kept it at 30 as an Argonian, you would have like less than 200 health by level 30. Don't do that. Don't play that way. That's a bad way to play unless you want to have a big challenge because your character dies really easily. So this hypothetical character, I think, is one of the weakest characters in the game. I would never pick this one, but I wanted to highlight that you can still have a powerful character who's very comparable to an efficiently leveled character, and you'll have a much better journey getting there. I think my next video is going to be talking about what building a really powerful character looks like. Like, if you're actually trying to min-max a little bit, you would never pick an Argonian. Bretons and High Elves come with such big bonuses. The Thief sign is not worth your time. You could pick the Mage sign, which is way better. You know, the Thief sign can be fun, getting that luck and everything, but the Mage sign is the best sign. You know, unless you want to do the Apprentice or the Atronach, those are really the three signs that make massive difference in this game. Magicka is just too useful of a tool. It's too powerful to ignore. You need a higher Magicka pool to do everything crazy in this game. And even if you don't, when you get 100 Restoration, when you get 100 Destruction, the game is done. When you get 100 Illusion, you become such an absurdly powerful character. If you have 100 Alchemy, you become such an absurdly powerful character that all of these problems fall to the wayside. So it only is if you want to min-max do you even think about this stuff. And so the fact that people who want to min-max have to grind more, have to put in more extra effort, that is not a sign of a broken system. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching.